Hi there, I'm Sandy Zemmer. Welcome to Tonight on My Table. Tonight we're going to create this card and it's using mostly retired products, but I will tell you which ones are still currently available. We're going to start with the Z3777, the Waterfall Thin Cut. And really I am just using this little square. I like the shape that was around the outside of it. And I'm using some Mocha cardstock. So I've just cranked that through my embossing folder, my thin cut folder, and I've created a bunch of squares. Now I made more than I need to. I generally stack my papers and cut 2 squares at a time, so you'll see them pop out there. And once I'm in there, I just thought I would go and I would do a whole bunch. Now you can see I'm using this little paper trimmer and I'm using some white daisy cardstock. And I'm cutting these squares at 1.5 by 1.5. So they're going to fit perfectly into those little mocha squares that I thin cut using that waterfall thin cut. And then in a little while, you'll see me stamp some images on them. Now again, I did more than I needed to. I just need 3 of each of these. But, if I make a mistake, then I'm ready to go, right? So I'm also using the Subway folder, and you can see that the number there is Z4055. It is also a retired product. I'm using the Mocha ink because it matches my cardstock, and I'm using the raised part of that Subway folder, and I'm just rubbing it back and forth on there. And I was intentionally trying to get a little bit of ink on the lower part as well. So you can see that those come out looking like bricks, and there's some detail in the background as well. Of course, you want to wipe off that folder right after you use it just so that ink doesn't stain it. But our inks are water-based, so they usually do not. So now I've got the B1571, Hunting for Words. And this one is a retired one. You'll see that I use the carrier sheet to help me line it up and figure out where I want to stamp that happy birthday sentiment. Once I've got it figured out, I ink it up and I put it on there. Now I'm trying to figure out which images I want to put on these little squares. And again, I'm using that carrier sheet just to help me figure out where the placement's going to be and which image I want to use. So again, stamping that on there with the Mocha ink. And then I just see how I like it on that square and I love it. So now this is the D1703. This is the Nature's Wish. And again, this is a retired item. Once again, I'm using that carrier sheet to help me figure out where I want to place that. I believe it's an elk on that square. And I stamp it with the Mocha again. Love those little images. So last but not least, I'm taking that deer and I'm putting that one on there. Now I have to admit, I got this idea from Pinterest. It was inspired by Pinterest. And unfortunately, I forgot to write down who created it. So I apologize that I'm not able to give them credit, but you may be able to find it on Pinterest if you look for it. So I'm just sort of stacking those on there, seeing what I think of it. And then I decide I want to add a little bit of trees in the background here. So I'm just tearing up one of those Post-it notes, and I'm sort of going for that organic look by tearing it. I'm going to use that cluster of trees, and I'm going to stamp it over top just to create a background for those stamped images that I did on those little squares. I'm not too worried about the fact that that didn't stamp perfectly on the left side there because it's pretty much going to get cut up. Now I'm also using this sponge, and I've cut that into 3 pieces. That's Z697, and that is currently available. So I'm using that and that Mocha ink, and I'm just kind of going around the edges just to add some more detail and a little bit of depth. This is a great way to just add some color as well and sort of blend everything together. I'm going around that piece of white daisy, which by the way is 4.25 by 5.5. So it is the full size of one of our card bases. And I'm just going to use a card base now, and that is from X254, the cards and envelopes. And of course, those are current as well. You'll see that I showed you where that bump was. That bump goes on the inside of the card. It's already pre-stretched, so you don't get any weird lines on it. So sometimes people get confused with where that goes, but it goes on the inside. So I've glued that onto my card base. Now I'm just sort of playing around with placement of these little guys and where I want them to go on that card front. And I'm just going to adjust them a little bit. I just use my scissors because I have adhesive on there to sort of lift them up and line them up. And there we go. Once I'm happy with that, I just press those down and hold them in place. So of course you could use different images for this. You could also do something similar to this on a layout. Now this next little bit, I don't know why, I tried to get this part of the video to flip over the right way and I just couldn't make it happen. But hopefully you get the gist of this. Maybe miraculously it will turn itself around when the video posts. Anyway, this is Z7104. It's from the Let's Party Stampin' Cut, and it is a current one. I absolutely love this sentiment. I'm sorry I called you old. I thought you knew. I thought it was perfect. And the person that I was making this card for, again, I thought it was perfect for. So here's a picture of the finished image here. I also stamped on the envelope a little bit just to sort of bring it all together. And yeah, there we go, finished product. So thank you for joining me tonight on my table. I hope that you will go to my website and make a purchase, and there is my website address. If you'd like to ring the bell, you can subscribe to my channel and you'll get a notification when I post something new. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video or any of my other ones, and please feel free to share it with your friends. If you want to leave a comment, that would be fantastic as well. Again, my name is Sandy Zimmer. I'm a Close to My Heart maker, and I hope you'll join me next time on Tonight on My Table. Bye for now.